Hello, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today for this webinar on marketing boom cards on YouTube. My name is Kari Lisa Johnson, and I'm the marketing director for Boom Learning. We're very excited to be partnering with Chloe Eum for today's webinar. So thanks for being here, Chloe.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah. We'd love to get to know you all. So to start off, we'll be sharing a poll with a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
So we're launching that poll, and if you guys can respond, that would be awesome. And then also you can go ahead and put in the chat where you're from, because we'd love to see all the different states and countries represented. I'm calling in today from Hawaii. And Chloe, where are you?
I am currently in South Korea at the moment.
And we also have team members all across the US and in Puerto Rico. And we're excited to get some people from different places as well. So we also wanted to let you know that we are recording this webinar. If you're watching the webinar recorded, you're not going to be able to access the chat or the Q&A box. Those are just for the people who are live streaming the webinar on Zoom. So we're also live streaming it on our Facebook page. And in the Zoom webinar, we do have the chat box where you can drop your comments throughout the webinar. We'll have team members reading those. And if you click on the chat box, you'll find links to the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, and a link to our feedback survey. And please, please, please fill out the feedback survey, because we love to understand where we can improve, what we can do better next time, what you liked, what you didn't like, so we can bring you the best webinars possible. So we'd be very grateful if you fill out that survey form. We also have a Q&A box. So we ask that you post your questions there for Chloe. And then at the end, we'll gather up all those questions together, and she'll be able to answer your questions. And she'll be doing that live, and we'll also have people responding in the question and answer box. So now I'd like to introduce Chloe. She graduated from the University of Georgia with a Bachelor in Science in Early Childhood Education with a mathematics endorsement. And after teaching in K-12 or K through second grade classrooms for 7 years, she started publishing her own educational materials. And you can subscribe to her YouTube channel, Tiny Teaching Shack. Chloe, take it away.
All right, thank you. My name is Chloe Eum, and there you go. My name is Chloe Eum, and I am a little bit nervous, but I'm going to do my best to give you some valuable tips to help you grow your YouTube channel.
Yeah, don't be too nervous. You can share your screen with that green share screen button at the bottom.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You got this.
Yeah. There, can you see?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. So I'm going to be talking about marketing your boom cards on YouTube. And I noticed in the poll that a lot of you already have a YouTube channel, and you might actually have more. You might be doing better than me, to be honest, but let me just share with you some of the things that worked for me to grow my channel. Oh, there you go. Okay, so I had a YouTube channel for some time now, since 2014, but as you can see, my channel only show any kind of growth in the past year and a half. And that's what I wanted to share with you today, of what I did during that time, during that year, that helped me boost my channel. And all of the videos that I created during that time period have between 500,000 views to some of them over 1 million views. So what will we cover today? We're going to talk about 5 things. What type of content can you create? Content creation and bringing traffic to your YouTube channel through different platforms, and how to, once you bring the traffic to your channel, how can you attract and engage those viewers? And then I'm going to talk about some of the video programs that you can use to edit your videos. And then finally, I'll share some freebies with you. All right, so first, let's talk about content creation. So if you already have a Boom store or a YouTube channel, and I think according to the poll, most of you already do, you probably want to focus on a certain, you want to focus on a niche. So it's very important to have a niche because by concentrating your efforts on a single area of expertise, your channel will have a focus so that you can grow your business much faster. And by doing that, you'll be able to get people to remember you better. This poll keeps popping up. I don't know why. Oh, there. You'll get people to remember you for something. So whether your channel is about animals or math or science, when they are teaching a certain topic or when they think of something and you want them to remember your channel or remember your brand so they can go on YouTube and find you and get what they need or what they want. And by doing that, you'll have a concentrated audience. And what I mean by that is that when your audience come to your channel, you don't want them to just watch one video and leave. You want them to watch every video on your channel. And by having a niche, those people will more than likely to click on many of your videos because they're all in the same department. So there are different kinds of styles that you can choose from. And what I've noticed on YouTube, there are a lot of teachers who share ideas with other teachers. It could be about classroom management, organization skills, something that you can learn from other teachers. And not all of the teachers are in a classroom. So this information that those teachers who are still in the classroom, they're able to share these ideas. And all you need to do, there are great videos of teachers where they just record themselves on their computer, sharing ideas, and those are great. And then you can also create educational videos. And this is what I do. Most of the videos that I create are educational videos specifically for kids. A lot of mine are about grammar. I plan to make science videos. These are great to make using video programs, which I will talk about later. I've also seen a lot of teachers make tutorial videos, and these are great because they answer a specific question and they help solve problems. For me, I have one tutorial video that did quite well, and that's called Boom Learning 101. And I made this because when the pandemic started, Boom cards were booming, and I was getting so many questions because and I thought I was spending so much time on doing customer service, answering these questions every day. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna make a video and make a visual presentation so that people can go to my video and learn everything without having to ask me a million questions. And I did that, and this video did quite well because it helped people. First of all, they learned what Boom cards are, and they learned how to use them. And in this video, I made it really simple. There are so many things that you need to know about Boom cards, as you probably know, but I didn't want to include everything because that'd be so overwhelming. So I included the basics. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that if you make a series of tutorial videos, that's what your channel could be known for. And finally, educational music videos. If you have the skill or the talent for video programming or musical skills, I think these kind of videos always do really, really great. Kids just love learning through music. So if you have the talent, you should go for it. Now that we talked about content, let's talk about how to actually bring people to your channel. We all know how important keywords and search engine optimization are, but I'm not going to talk about that because that's a really in-depth topic, and I think Boom should probably host another webinar with a professional who may, who is a pro at SEO. But I will talk about two things that worked for me, which are having effective thumbnails and how you can optimize on multiple platforms to bring traffic to your YouTube channel. So what do I mean by having effective thumbnails? You want to have a clear and concise title so that when people scroll through hundreds of videos, you want them to just see it without having to read every description. You also want to have consistency so that when people see your YouTube channel amidst many other, your thumbnail amongst many other thumbnails, they recognize your brand. So here's an example of my, it's a screenshot of my channel. And what I was trying to go for here is to have a similar style. So I have like a very similar layout. They all have this background image with clear bold titles. And I use the same font, if you can see, across all of my videos, and I included a character. And what I'm trying to go for is that when people see my thumbnail, I want them to know, oh, it's from Tiny Teaching Tube, and I am familiar with her videos, so I want to click on it. And here, let me show you. Some people forget to add that extra thumbnail. And if you don't add the thumbnail when you post your YouTube video, YouTube will just pick up on any image from your YouTube video. You don't have a choice, but you want to have, like in your Boom store, you have a cover page and you want to have the same thing on your YouTube videos. So make sure you add your thumbnail. This is what you'll see when you post your video online. You first write the title and write the description. And here, instead of choosing any of these images, you want to add your own thumbnail. Okay, how do I go to the next page? Oh, right. And if you are making videos specifically about Boom cards, you may want to add a Boom card logo in there, and you can get these on Boom Learning website, and we'll provide you with the link. And they have so many different options that you can choose from. So depending on your design of the cover, you can add different kinds of logo to make your cover pretty. All right, so this another way you can bring traffic to your channel is by using multiple platforms. So I don't know about you, but I have a blog, I have an email list, and I try to optimize them as much as I can. And you also, when you post your product or your resource on an online marketplace, there's a description section. You want to maybe provide a link in there as well. So here is an example of what I did in my blog. So let's say, oh, what happened? I click on irregular past tense verb activities. I share all the activities here, like the worksheets and the activities. Scroll down. Oh, here we are. So here I embedded a YouTube video of the same topic. And if you scroll down further, you can see that I also have Boom cards about that topic. So they're all, you can see they're all related. And then I also provide a picture so people know what it is. And then if you look here, oops, did you see that or did you miss that? I'm not good at this technical stuff. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, I must have skipped to the next slide. Uh-oh. Anyways, I'm gonna pause my video and so I can explain. All right, here. So in that blog post, you can see that I added 2 buttons there. The first one, it says, what are boom cards? So I made a whole another blog post all about boom cards because people were asking, a lot of people are talking about boom cards these days. What are they? So I created a blog post explaining what they are and also added a YouTube video in there on my in my blog post explaining what boom cards are, and also added another video in there how to use boom cards, like Boom Card 101. Here's another link over here, which you can also do. My irregular verb boom cards are part of a much bigger bundle, and I want to be able to tell my buyers that, oh, if you want to get this resource, maybe you want to check out my bigger resource that includes all of my 2nd grade grammar activities. So you can sell your bundle that way. That
So
you're trying to tell you.
Does the bundle link go to the Boom Learning site or your actual
Yes.
marketplace? Okay.
Oh,
so you're cross-linking between the blog, different blog posts, your videos, and your marketplace.
Right. So this button will take you to another blog post explaining about 2nd grade Boom Card bundle, but then there will be links in there that will take them straight to my Boom Learning website. Right. Okay, and you can also do the same with your emails. If you have an email list already, you can add your videos in there as well. Here it says, I have a new grammar video, check these out. And then I provide all the links to my printables and my boom cards. And then it also takes them to the YouTube video that I created about that particular topic. So now that you've brought people to your channel, how can you keep them engaged? Well, you want to create videos that has no fluff. And I'll talk more about that. And you want to have quality videos. When I say no fluff, I mean, I've seen a lot of videos where you click on that video because the title is appealing, and then the person doesn't talk about what they said they're going to talk about for the first 5 minutes. And you're sitting there, okay, so come on, and then you're getting frustrated, so you try to scroll through the video to find what you're looking for, and your goal is not to get your your viewer frustrated. You want to give them what they came for. So that's what I mean by saying no fluff. You want your videos to be concise or go right to the point. And I don't know what kind of programs that you use to make videos. You might be really good at it and you know how to use fancy programs, or you might use iMovie, which is free for you to use if you have Apple. But for me, I quite enjoy using video animation programs, and there are a lot of them that you can find on Google. Powtoon, Doodly, VideoScribe, these are some examples I put in there. I personally like to use Powtoon. I'm going to show you a little bit about what it's like. So how do I edit my videos on Powtoon? I made a little video to show you, but I don't want to bore you, so I'm just going to show you a little bit. So when you go into Powtoon, you can see that they have a lot of feature templates. These are already made for you. So if you want to just change a couple of things like the images or the font, actually, these are really good if you want to make promotional videos. If you want to showcase some of the resources that you made, that you can make quite fancy promotional videos using the feature templates. This, I like to make everything from scratch for my YouTube videos. And I use some I use different fonts and images that I buy, like clip art that you can purchase and add them to your videos. And I don't know if you can see on the side, on your right side, there are a lot of options that you can choose from. I can't see because of the screen right there. Right, so if you look on the right side, I'll go through some of them. You can change the background and you can add different styles of text. There are some fancy ones there that you can choose from. It just makes, Powtoon just makes it really easy for you to make your videos fancy, even if you don't really know how to create videos. You can add images, animations, different font, different background. You can even embed videos in there, videos within videos. You can also add voiceover and add music to your videos. Right, there are a lot of things that you can do. I mean, you can ask me some of the questions at the end, but it's pretty fun to make once you get in the zone. It's easy and it's fun.
So you're basically making your own cartoons at that point.
Sort of, yes. And there are so many different styles. I would urge you to look through that template so you have a better idea of what you can, or what kind of style that you want to go for. And we'll provide you with the link in the webinar chat box with the free broom card library that you can go to. And I think in the poll, I saw that a lot of your elementary school teachers and a lot of my broom cards are geared towards primary grades. So you might want to check that out. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for watching. That's all for my presentation, and Curry can take over the questions.
Yeah, I think next we're going to do some Q&A. You can stop sharing your screen if you want, Chloe.
All right. Thank you.
So I have some questions to kick things off, and then we can flip over to the Q&A box after I've asked a few of my burning questions.
All right. Okay.
So thank you so much, Chloe, for sharing your tips with all of us. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the transition between being a teacher in the classroom to becoming a creator full-time. So you have a degree in education. First, I wanted to ask, is there anything that surprised you when you first started teaching full-time in the classroom?
For me, I think, should I say surprise? Classroom management was probably the most surprising for me, because during my internships and student teaching, I didn't really think about that aspect too much. But then when I became a full-time classroom teacher, I learned how important classroom management was, because without having that down, you can't teach anything. Right. So you have all this knowledge and you want to teach your kids things, but unless you have classroom management down, you just can't do anything. So that probably was my biggest surprise in my first year.
So when you're designing boom cards, do you think about how it might help the teacher with classroom management?
With my boom cards, no, I'm focusing more on how can you make learning fun? How can you keep them engaged?
I think that's a good point, because if the students are engaged with the activity they're working on, it's easier for the teacher to manage things in general. So engagement,
right, they'll be more focused.
Exactly. Engagement is key. So I guess I wanted to ask how long you taught before you started your side hustle as a publisher, and how did that transition happen?
Right. So I started hustling about 3 years into teaching, and then about 7 years into teaching, I went full-time and became a publisher, became a teacher author. Yeah.
So you started producing, and it took time to build up enough of a following for you to do it full time.
Right.
It didn't happen overnight.
No, I wish. No, I couldn't go full time straight away. It took a long time, but I'm glad that I have this now, because now I get to enjoy more time with my two girls.
So how did you first hear about boom cards?
Well, I'm part of this Facebook group, and there's this, I'm sure you all know, a well-known author called Rachel Lynette, and she mentioned boom cards in that Facebook group, and I didn't actually check it out straight away. I just thought, oh, that sounds really interesting, and just thought about it, but not really took any action on it. And then about a year later, I wanted to learn more about it because we were embracing more technology in our school. And after I found out what it was, I started making my own boom cards.
And how did you decide that making boom cards was a good investment of time? Because it can be intimidating. And I think that's one of the reasons your Boom 101 video is so popular, because it can be overwhelming to start making the cards. So how did you decide that it was worth the time to learn how to do it and to continue making them?
Right. Well, when I first started making boom cards, which was probably late 2016, I wasn't making any money from it. I really wasn't selling any boom cards because it wasn't that popular back then. But I was creating so many because my students loved boom cards, and I shared them with my coworkers and they loved them. So because we were enjoying it so much, that's why I thought, you know what, like, I know it's not big right now, but this is gonna take off one day. If people know about it, they're gonna love it. So that's when I thought, like, this is probably, I know it's not doing well right now, but this is a good investment. So I'm just gonna continue making them.
Yeah, it was worth it just for your own class and your coworkers' classes.
Exactly, because boom cards were not, they were just not very well known back then. Now I think a lot of people know about boom cards.
Yeah. So I guess you mentioned that your Boom Cards 101 video was really popular, and I'm wondering why you think people like that video so much. It seems like you mentioned you were answering a question that people had. And so are there any other reasons you think that video really was successful, or any of your successful videos? Like, what do you think makes them successful?
Well, if I want to talk specifically about the Boom Card 101 video, I think timing was really important. It was, I guess, when the pandemic started, people wanted to learn more about embracing technology in the classroom. And it was just, I posted that video at the right time because I was getting a lot of questions during that time. And I also think that video is very efficient. So I think I mentioned earlier that I didn't want to bombard my viewers with so much information. So I only included the most basic things that you need to know to start on Boom Cards. I also I didn't want anybody to waste their time. So I also made sure that I added like table of contents right at the start of my video. And in my description, I added the titles with timestamps so that people, if they already knew the first 5 points, don't waste time watching my video for the first 5 minutes. You can skip right to that part and then learn about what you came for.
That's really good advice, especially for a tutorial video, to have the table of contents and then the timestamps so that people, if they're in a hurry, can really just get to what they came for. That's
right.
really
Nobody want to waste their time.
nobody wants to waste time.
And
So we do have some questions in the Q&A box. So I'm going to skip to those questions and then skip back to some of mine because they're pretty good questions.
Okay.
So somebody asked, do you need a separate subscription for Powtoon? And can you talk a little bit more about that subscription? Like how much is it and what's included? And just to be clear, that's not affiliated with Boom Learning or Boom Cards at all. It's just a tool that Chloe really likes. So she wanted to share it with everybody.
Right. Thank you. No, there's no affiliate link on Powtoon. So so Boom Cards, I looked it up because the price changed over time. But you can get like a monthly subscription. So yes, it's a paid program. You can use it for free, but there are some limitations and they'll put like a big Powtoon logo next to your video and you don't want that. So if you want to not have the logo and have more options to add animations, I would suggest that you pay for it. And the monthly fee is, I think they said $59 a month. And if you pay annually, you can get a bigger discount.
So maybe you could start off by building up a bunch of thumbnails that you need, and then you can pay for a month and do all the thumbnails you need at once.
That sounds cheap. That sounds cheeky, but yes.
So the other question we got was, what size are your thumbnails for YouTube? And you might not know that off the top of your head. If you happen to know that, that's great. Otherwise, we'll have our team do a little research on the side and post that size in the chat. Because I know I've done a lot of thumbnails for YouTube and I can't remember off the top of my head exactly how many pixels it's supposed to be.
Right. If you use Canva, you can design your YouTube thumbnails there as well.
Yeah, that's where we do our Boom Learning thumbnails. We do them in Canva.
Right. And you don't have to know all the numbers.
Yeah, they have it as a preset template. That's true.
Right.
But maybe one of the Boom Learning team members can look that up and put it in the Q&A, just exactly what the size is. And I think it's different than the ones on Boom Learning. So that's a little tricky. You'll have to have one thumbnail for Boom Learning and one thumbnail for YouTube.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, do you think that creating Boom Cards and creating YouTube videos requires a similar set of skills?
Yes, I think so. Well, in many aspects, but I think if you have design skills, if you are creative, that's a very important skill to have, whether you're creating a YouTube video or Boom Cards.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I guess I wanted to ask you a little bit about how you would convince a skeptical teacher to give your Boom Cards a try.
I always offer free Boom Cards. And in my Boom Cards 101 video, I also made sure to include a section where I told people, you know what, I know you're interested in using Boom Cards, but you don't want to get into it because you don't know what they are. So here I have a free Boom Card library where you can download these freebies and see if you like them, and if you like them, buy them. And I think I have actually converted a lot of people to be Boom users.
So really being generous with the freebies is one way to do it.
Yeah, and I think I was very, very generous during the pandemic just because I wanted to help out. So during that time, I did give out a lot of free Boom Cards.
We've used the same strategy as a company in that at the beginning of the pandemic, we offered free memberships. And then again, now we're offering free memberships to both schools and individuals, and that's lasting through the end of February. You can sign up for 2 months of access. And the reason to do that is because when people really need help, it's always a good thing to lend a hand if you can. Yeah. So we agree with that. We support that. So what has surprised you the most about your journey as an entrepreneur?
For me, I think my perseverance, the grit that I had in me that I never knew that I had. There were so many times, like you said, your business doesn't take off overnight. It takes a long time, a lot of your effort. And there were many times when I just thought, you know what, who's gonna buy my resource or who's gonna watch my video? And I wanted to just give up. But I'm surprised of myself that I never did and that I still continue to try my best to grow my business.
And I think that chart that you showed at the beginning is really telling. And I think it's probably very common for some of the most successful brands on YouTube. And that showed that you were creating content and creating content and creating content. And for a long time, nobody was looking at it or very few people were looking at it. But because you had that whole wealth of content, when you did have a piece that caught fire, you also had a wealth of other material that people could go to, and then they started watching all your videos. Right.
And you keep improving. So what you made 5 years ago, you may have thought like, this is great. And then you look at it now, you're like, oh gosh, I want to delete that right now.
I noticed when you showed the slide with all your thumbnails, you could see that you've had a very consistent thumbnail recently, but that originally you had a different font. And so you did evolve your style over time. And did you use the analytics in YouTube to help you decide how to refine your style? Did you go by what was most successful?
I didn't look at YouTube analytics, but what helped me decide on my content was what I was selling in my store. So I thought I'm selling a lot of, if I had a really high conversion rate, I thought, hey, maybe it's a good idea to make a video to go along with that.
That makes sense. So that gave you a focus on where to spend your time for the videos.
Right.
So do you use any other social channels to promote your boom cards? You talked about using blog and email. Do you use anything else?
I use Pinterest, and Pinterest is probably my main source of traffic, apart from blogging. And well, all of my Pinterest traffic goes to my blog, and then it sends them to my online marketplaces. But I don't really do Instagram or Facebook. I tried, but I think unless you really enjoy, you want to choose the social media that you actually enjoy, because if you don't, then it'll just be a waste of time. But I'm not on Instagram or Facebook, but I know that some other teacher authors, they do great on Instagram and they have a presence.
I think that's true, that you have to invest your time where you're finding joy. And so that's probably one of my biggest tips as a marketer, is to make sure that you are enjoying to the best of your ability the videos that you make. Because if you're not having fun, if you're not making stuff that you enjoy, nobody else is going to enjoy it. So yeah, spending time, if you enjoy Pinterest, spending more time promoting yourself on Pinterest makes a lot of sense.
Right. And if you are at that level to hire someone to take over, you can do that. I enjoyed Pinterest in the past, but I wanted to focus more on creating videos and making resources. So I, for the first time, hired someone else to take over my Pinterest account.
And you can do that with YouTube as well. Like there are people you can hire to manage some of the more technical side of uploading and things like that for YouTube, if you feel like it makes sense for your business. You mentioned that how you put your videos in your emails. Do you use images and text to represent your video? I noticed that you had some that were just hyperlinks. How do you decide what to make it as an image and what to link as just text?
Well, for me, I usually put the image of the new one, the new resource or the new video that I created. Because if you were my email subscriber, then you probably already received emails about the other resources. And I don't want them to get the same information every time they get an email from me. So for the older links, older products or videos, I just provide the links, hyperlinks.
That makes a lot of sense. And it makes sense to always be showing people new images because people like seeing something new.
Right.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit more about how your brand has evolved over time. You mentioned the fonts and the style changing, but what about the content? Have you changed at all who you're targeting, or has that remained the same?
With my store, I was not focused. I didn't have a niche because when I first started off, I wanted to be successful, but I didn't really know how. So what I did was I tried to copy, which is a really bad practice. I just tried to copy what other bestsellers were doing. So for example, like calendars were selling a lot long time ago. So I didn't even need a calendar in my classroom because we already had one. But I thought, oh, these are selling, so I'm gonna make calendars. And they just did not sell because my store wasn't focused on one particular niche. It was just all over the place. But now over time, I learned how important it is to have a niche, and it's narrowed down to a specific subject. And same for my YouTube videos. Those videos are about those subjects that I focus on in my stores.
Okay, that's great. And we do have a bunch of questions from the Q&A box. So we have somebody asking anonymously, do you think it is important to show yourself, like your own face, in YouTube videos?
Not at all. I don't think so. I'm a really shy person. So this, I probably stumble on my words a lot during the webinar because I'm just naturally shy, and I would never be able to make videos of myself and post it on YouTube for everybody to watch. That's why I use a video program. So I don't think it's important, depending on what kind of videos you make. Maybe if you're like talking about some tips, then it'll be more friendly to have your face showing. But no, not at all. You don't need to show your face to create YouTube videos.
And I can attest that it's true because Chloe was very shy about appearing on the webinar. But I think that's really empowering that you don't have to be a model, or you don't have to have a certain look to have success on YouTube. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to, even though we think your face is beautiful. Everyone out there, we think you should always be able to show your face, but if you don't want to and you're shy, you don't have to. We have Manila asking, do you use any scheduling app? Does YouTube allow you to schedule your videos?
I don't do it, but Kari, can you answer that question? Can you schedule?
You know, I'm not sure. I haven't used a scheduling app for YouTube before, but I can look into that and see. We definitely use scheduling tools for all the other social channels, but I'd imagine for YouTube, you would probably have to upload the video and then schedule it if there is a scheduling tool. And the issue with that is sometimes you want to post the video as soon as you're done with it. So you do have to upload it. And it's kind of the uploading that takes time anyway. But maybe we could have another team member look out there and see, just in a brief search, if there are any scheduling programs for YouTube. I might start using one if there's a good one. So someone asked, do you use the Boom Learning external link on the YouTube description? So basically they're asking what link do you use to your products on the YouTube description?
Oh, I use the TPT link for if it's well, what do you mean by external link? You mean like actual?
So you can use, we would recommend using the external link for your YouTube description. That's right. That's
you mean like for the product? I just take them
to the Boom
to
store.
my
if you're sending people to the Boom store.
Yeah, I don't even use any. I just send them straight to the Boom store. Yeah.
So let's see. How often do you upload videos to YouTube?
So I should, and the best practice is to be consistent. And I think I would have done a lot better if I had been consistent, but life happened in the past year. I thought I was doing great, but then because of some stuff that happened in my life, I wasn't able to. So the growth of 50,000 subscribers and these crazy views that I got, it was all from just 8 or 9 videos. So that makes me think that if I were consistent and posting, 2-3 videos every month, I would have done a lot better.
So we also have another person asking, what voice recording app do you use for your videos?
Oh, so on Powtoon, I used to use a microphone connected to my computer, but I got this new MacBook and it has great sound quality. So I just connected straight. I just talk to my computer and make sure that I kill the noise in the background and add that to Powtoon and use that. I don't have any kind of special equipment.
So you're just using what comes on a Mac?
Now I do. Yeah.
Okay. So we have Manila again asking, how long does it take to create and upload your video to YouTube?
It takes me probably about a day to plan things out, and then about 2 days or so to create the videos and post them. So in total, probably about 3-4 days full time.
And then someone asked, how do you find the beautiful graphics that we saw? And I think in this case, they're talking about the clip art.
Right. Thank you. My sister is actually a graphic designer and she has a clip art store on TPT. So I use her graphics, her clip art, but I also use when you sign up for the subscription on Powtoon, they give you all these animations that you can use, clip art and animations, as well as some stock photos. So if you subscribe, then you can use all of those things.
Okay, great. So next up, I'm going to continue with one of my questions, which is, who do you follow on YouTube? And along with that, I want you to give a shout out to your if you know the name of your sister's store, so that people can find her.
Oh, she'd be so happy. She's a very small seller, and she So my store name is Tiny Teaching Shack, and her store name is Tiny Graphics Shack.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and she took over. She was the main designer, and I tried to help her grow her store, but I couldn't really concentrate on both stores. So she took over, and she's trying to run everything on her own. And that'd be great if you could follow her store.
And then who do you follow on YouTube?
Oh, who do I follow on YouTube? I don't. Most channels that I follow are for my daughters. So other educational channels, I love, I think it's called Peekaboo Kids. They have great science videos, Super Simple Songs. I don't know if a lot of people know Super Simple Songs. They have great music, like song videos. And what else do I follow? I follow a lot of Korean channels so that my kids can learn some Korean.
Is
Yeah,
there
but our
any
favorite are
Korean
Peekaboo
channel
Kids.
with really great graphics that people should look at just because the graphics are so cool?
Peekaboo Kids. It's just amazing, right? Because I thought they teach a lot of science topics, and I thought that it would be too challenging for my girl who's 4 years old. But even she enjoys it because the graphics are amazing and the explanations are just great.
That's cool. So I also wanted to ask you about any blogs, news, or influencers that you follow in order to stay on top of new trends for marketing.
I think I'm not a big Instagrammer,
Mhm.
but I am in many Facebook groups, and that helps me stay on top of things and know what is trending. And my Pinterest manager also helps me because she's the one who looks at all the analytics, and she helps me see what is trending, what is doing well, what people are looking for.
Great. And I did want to loop back on the scheduling question about YouTube because I had forgotten, but YouTube does have a way to choose when the upload becomes public. So I usually just make them public right away, but that's probably not the best strategy. So you can have it pop up as public after you post it. Normally, I think about it as if somebody really wants to be trolling our YouTube channel, watching every video as it goes live, they can. And then when we really want to announce something, we blast it out in other social channels. So maybe that's a way to get people to subscribe to your channel because they'll find out before everybody else about some news.
Yeah.
And another thing that you can do that I wanted to add is you can add end cards to your videos, and you can also add a watermarked logo to your videos. The logo helps people to subscribe, and then the end card at the end of your video can lead people to different videos of yours. It can also push people to your website, things like that. And that's pretty straightforward to use. It's all part of the upload process on YouTube. You just say add end card.
Can I mention something about the
Yeah.
end cards? I skipped through it earlier at the beginning of the presentation because I was a little bit nervous. But if you are making video contents for kids on YouTube, there are two sections for adults and for kids. And if you make kids video contents, you cannot put end cards there. And they also block data collection, so you can't have any targeted ads. So if you want to monetize your videos on YouTube, if that's your long-term goal, your revenue will be less if you make kids videos. No end screens, people can't comment on your videos, they can't save those videos to their playlist, and there will be no data collection, so you can't have targeted ads.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. So because of the privacy restrictions, if you are targeting kids, there are a lot of limitations, and there are good reasons that those limitations are in place. Because they don't want, nobody wants everyone selling a bunch of stuff to kids. So that really makes a lot of sense. And thanks for pointing that out. Our channel, the Boom Learning channel, is really, all our videos are targeted towards adults. We don't make educational content for kids. So that may be something you want to think about as you're building your strategy and thinking about who your ideal audience is. If you are going to want an income stream from your YouTube videos, that's something you may want to think about. Okay, let's see. We have a couple more questions. In all the time you've been a teacher and an author, publisher, what is the biggest challenge that you've faced getting to this stage?
Biggest challenge? Well, there are so many challenges. I would say
that's good because people can relate to your challenges. We all have, especially the last couple of years, we've all had some challenges. So we appreciate you sharing yours.
Well, there are several challenges, but I think when I transitioned from being a teacher to an author, especially when I transitioned to a full-time author, I found I was really excited at the beginning, and then I became very lonely very quickly. I found it, I guess it depends on people, but for me, I found it so, I was regretting it a lot in the first year of becoming a full-time author. Like, why did I do this? Like, can I do this? Is it actually going to be successful for, was it worth it? You know? So that was a big challenge for me. And also just not giving up. You know, even maybe your store's got tens of thousands of followers, or maybe you're doing a really great job already. But if you're not, don't worry, because it takes such a long time to get there. Some people are faster, some people are slower, but if you just keep trying, you will get there. And it's so easy to give up. And I think that might be the most challenging thing, to not give up, even if you think that you're not doing great, especially during summertime.
And I think it's good to use the children who are using your boom cards as a litmus test of whether you should keep going or not. If they're really loving it and you really see that you're making an impact, then you probably want to keep going. But if your cards are falling flat with the intended audience, then maybe you need to rethink what you're doing or your niche, or, you know, exactly what you want to teach, something like that. So yeah, I always think let the students be your guide.
Yeah. And if you're not teaching in the classroom, try on your kids or give them to your previous coworkers. I'm sure they will love to try them.
Yeah. So we only have time for one question more because we're almost at the hour mark. So I wanted to ask you, if you had to guess, what do you think the next trend will be in video marketing?
I think that TikTok videos are trending big time. And if you are creative, definitely try making TikTok videos, because I watch them. I don't know how to make them, but they are so fun to watch. And I think that will be, I mean, it's probably already a big thing, but it will definitely be the next big thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good piece of advice. So I have a couple more announcements, but I want to thank you so much, Chloe, for giving us all your wonderful wisdom. We really, really appreciate it. And then we'll be following up with an email. Here, let me move this so you guys don't have to see that. So we'll be following up with an email that includes a link to the recording, as well as links to the resources that Chloe mentioned. And if you need help or have questions for Boom Learning, you can always reach out to help@boomlearning.com. And before we close, we want you to fill out the survey form that we have in the chat. It's really important to us that you fill out the survey because it helps us understand what's going to be the best content for the next upcoming webinars. We hope you'll join us next week for our webinar with Ashley Mickelson about marketing boom cards on Instagram. So that's another one in our publisher series. And for anyone watching the recording on YouTube, please click the Boom logo in the lower right to subscribe to our channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.